on the color chart. So if you go back there to mix color, you don't panic, okay? You look in your color chart, find where it's talking about color. I'm dealing with yellow hair, what do I need to put on it? It's gonna give you an idea right here, okay? When you look in this color chart at the swatches, I want you to be looking at the bases of the colors. The bases of the colors. Okay, they're over to the left. Neutral. This is my updated chart that I don't want to lose. Neutral, it says to you right here that it's neutral. If it's got an A behind it, it's going to be an ash, and it says ash over here. That's where the base of the color is shown, so you know what you're mixing. Here's an ash violet. Okay, so to me, that's going to be a blue violet. Ash, ash. I would only put that on maybe Dawn, you know, because she doesn't want to see any red tones at all, ever, ever. But see what I mean about lightness? Look how dark this is. You know, when you're dealing in certain levels, you're dealing in certain colors. So levels go from, we should know, 1
to 10.
But this one goes to 11 with matrix. Some go up to 12 in their color lines. 1 being your darkest, 10 or 11 or 12 being your very lightest. So we always have to keep that in mind what level we're working on. Mocha, it says mocha next to it for base. That's a mahogany base. I looked it up last night. Okay, just to make sure. That would be, to me, mahogany looks, I see a little red and I see a little violet in mahogany. So I'm going to know that's kind of like a red-violet base. Now these mochas are beautiful. You know, on top of almost everything. We're using them for toners now. Like crazy on top of blondes. You know, which means that violet in there is doing something with those brassy blondes that we like. You know, it's making good things happen. Of course, your warms. What color is that? Yellow. They got a yellow base. It says the word warm, but that's yellow right there. So you know these colors have a yellow base. We have gold, copper gold. We get into brown, blonde, and copper. We get into all these different brown, blonde, red. This color, 3BR, you would not think by looking at the swatch that it has a brown, red, and blonde base to it, would you? Because it's dark. Okay, but you go according to your color chart and what it says the base is for that hair color. We've got our red violets over here. We've got gold golds, red coppers. The HDs, of course, are like our crazy standout reds and stuff. You know, if somebody came in with gray roots and they wanted to be this red as these HDs, if you're not mixing a whole bunch of neutral in there, they're going to be bright pink when they leave here. Bright pink, like an Easter egg. When they leave here. So you have to remember that. Now, and your ultralight blondes. These ultralight blondes have, what would ULA be? Think about it.
Ultralight ash.
Ultralight ash. That's got an ash base to it. ULN. Neutral. ULPA.
Pineapple, I don't know.
Pale ash.
Pale ash, good.
Oh,
And then
diddy.
ULPN, we have a pale neutral, okay? So once you learn your bases that you're mixing, you can mix anything to put on anybody with ease, you know, and not be upset. Now, this is really important in the basics of hair color. Is level finding. In every chart, you should have a level finder. A lot of ours are lost, okay? But if you really need one, I have one, if you can't find one in the color cabinet. Level finder means we take this over to our client, and we're trying, gray or not, doesn't matter. We're trying to find out what the natural level of their hair color is, okay? Here's where we get into developers and where they happen. when you're looking for the natural level hair color, you don't hold the hair flat and hold the swatch up to the hair. You need to bend the hair up. You need to curve it up like this. And then put your swatches up there, and you're going to get more of a true reading because you want light passing through it. Okay? It's transparent, the cuticle of our hair, so that we can see through it into the cortex. So we want light to pass through it. Dawn is probably right around, and I'm looking at hair color here. She just colored her hair. I'm not looking at natural level right now, but it's as close as I can get to her root area. Dawn's about a natural level between a 4 and a 3. She's pretty dark. So then when we take into consideration, are we covering gray or not, okay, then that tells us if we're covering gray, everybody try to get this, if we're covering gray, we're using 20 volume peroxide, okay? If you're covering gray, yes, if you're covering gray, we're using 20 volume peroxide because we have to deposit all 3 primary colors into that gray hair to get it to cover. Now, if somebody is a level 3 or 4 like Dawn, and they want to be really up in here, like a 6 and a 7, okay? If we're covering gray, we have to use 20 volume, okay? So we have to formulate that properly. If they want to be a 6 or a 7, we'd be putting a 6 or a 7 in on it, right? Because it's gray, okay? But on the rest of it, if they're wanting to come up a couple levels, if they're wanting to be a little bit lighter, that's when you're getting into your 30 and your 40 volume peroxide, okay? When you've got darker hair than what you want at the desired end. If you want a lighter color desired at the end, you're going to use a higher level of lift on the darker hair, okay? Gray hair, 20 volume. Never a question. So we know whatever we're covering here at the root, whatever the gray hair that we're covering, we've got to formulate it right there. We've got to be on that level that we want to end up with 20 volume peroxide. Now, if the rest of it's darker and they want to be lifted up, then we have to go into 30 or 40, which will lift 3 or 4 levels, says the law of color. Okay, so if somebody comes in a level 3 and they want to be up here in a level 9, can we do it with color? It's an impossibility.
To a 7?
We cannot do it. Can we take a
them
3
up
to a
4.
7?
You can
Yes,
take them
with
up
40
4.
volume peroxide, we can get 4 levels
Okay.
of lift. We could go from a 3 to a 7.
Yeah.
Okay? This is where sometimes, and it's not we're stupid or anything, it's our lack of knowledge with color theory that when people come in the door and they say, this is what I want, and we don't know to say, you can't have that. You know, the law of color says that's not going to happen. We're dealing with artificial pigment. We can't do everything with this. Okay? The ladies that come in with dark hair and Tony gets them bleached up to that really light stage.
She's
I
putting
mean,
her
that's a
Mexican
great
voodoo on
thing.
it.
It's a great thing, but I'm telling you, in my practice out there, if they were that dark-headed, I would encourage more of a reddish highlight than I would a real blonde highlight. I know that's what they want. I know it's what they want. But I would encourage it because I can do it with hair color. Anybody, we can put bleach on anybody and sit there and burn them up for as long as we want to try to get them as high as we can. You know, but trust me, that hair's not going to take it for very long. You know, and we have a lot of dark-headed ladies that come in here that get bleached really high up. That's all good as long as we're only doing the root area when they come back. Because anything we touch with bleach after that is going to just come right out. It's going to come right off their head. So we have to do what's responsible as a hairdresser, and we have to do what the law of color tells us to do. And if somebody wants something else, if they want it that light, fine, bleach it up there if you can get it up there, you know. But the law of color tells us we can't. We're going to talk about decolorization, where you go from dark to light. And we pull red and orange, man, all the way up the ladder.